Hello, Faith to Feet family. Anetta here, and I have a guest. And really, she's not just a guest, she's one of my good friends. But if you don't know her, she is the host of the podcast, My Life in Ruins. Or is it? This is simply Jerica. That's her brand name, but this is Miss Jerica Reedus.
Feet family.
So here at Faith to Feet, one of my goals, or this is just my whole mission, you all know this, is to help women pursue greatness without compromising their values, their vision, and their voice. So when I have a guest on, before I have them on, I like for them to tell me some of their values, their vision, and something about their voice. So Jerica has mentioned to me that she values integrity. Honesty is also important to her, even if your views are different than hers. Her vision is to see individuals recover from mental setbacks, and her voice is everyone's point of view is valuable. I love her values, her vision, and her voice. I think that it lines up with Faith to Feet and my values, my vision, and my voice, as well as my mission, really is for us to not compromise either of those V's. And so today we're going to be talking about valuing your vows. That's a tongue twister, right? I know.
Mhm.
So when we think about vows, this is the wedding season, and a lot of us are maybe getting married. Know people that are getting married. We may be even in some weddings this summer, and I'm actually going to a wedding next month, so I'm looking forward to that. So this setup is just pretty much Jerica and I talking like friends, just having a dialogue, hoping that you can pull something from this conversation that we're having on valuing your vows. So it is going to be a continuation of those vows that you may have taken or are hoping to take in the future with your significant other. So today we're going to start off with the first part of those vows, which is to have and to hold from this day forward. So that's specifically that's the portion of the vows that we'll be talking about today. But we just want to start off with Jerica. Do you want to say anything? Did I miss anything in your introduction about who you are or anything like that?
You did not. I do appreciate the opportunity to sit and just converse with you today, but you didn't miss anything.
All right, Faith to Feet family, I promise you, be, you will not feel like your time was wasted today. Because this is one thing I will say about both Jerica and myself: we do not talk just to be talking.
That's true.
So I want to know, first of all, we make vows for lots of different reasons and for lots of different things, not just wedding vows, even though today we'll be talking about those wedding vows. What do vows mean to you, or what does it mean to you when you make a vow?
When you make a vow, thinking about that to me is simply something that's to not to be broken. You're making a commitment and you're saying, I'm going in this, I'm giving all of me into this, and I will not break this. So that's what I think about when I just think about the word vow.
Right. I mean, I'm there with you. It's a commitment for me. It's a covenant. So when I took a vow with my husband, it was like I knew that I wanted to do this thing forever. But sometimes
Mhm.
forever isn't forever ever, right?
Ever, ever, you know?
So I do think, it's something that you have to think about seriously. If I were talking to my daughters about, getting married, what to expect, I would tell them to like pay attention to different ways that they experience their significant other. And what I mean by ways that you experience, you want to have as many experiences. Like, what is it like seeing them, when they're not at their best? What is it like
Mhm.
hanging out with them when they're, happy, when they're not so happy, or when they're upset about something? And it gives you a good indication of how well they handle things, and not just them, but how well you handle them in their moments of up or their moments of being down. What do you think about that?
That's very important because thinking about going into a commitment and making a vow, you have to take all of that person. So you have to take into consideration exactly what you said. How do they handle adverse situations? Not just them. You have to look at yourself. How do you handle those situations? You also have to think about the possibility of how may we handle this together. And
Yeah.
one part that's left out that I feel like is very important is the unexpected.
Ooh,
Because when you get this list of vows, no one knows what that unexpected is going to be
really?
because it's different for every couple or every in both those individuals when you go into that together. What it looks like for you, your unexpected was not my unexpected, and we've both been married long enough to share some of those unexpecteds. So
Right.
you have to also think about that as well. Is this someone that I can handle that unexpected with together? Not just the adverse unexpected, but the good unexpected as well. Because
Oh,
some of those good unexpecteds draw people apart.
oh wow.
Yeah,
That's good. That's deep, Jerica. That's deep right there.
yeah,
I think Faith to Feet family, we can handle deep, right? That's what we need. That's what we thrive on over here, Faith to Feet. So I'm glad I have you on here, Jerica, giving us all that good stuff. So when you said unexpected, I think that was something to make us think about because I didn't expect to be having twins, so it's like that was one thing that was unexpected for me, even though my husband wanted twins. That was just something that I didn't expect. So I would always think about the unexpected and being able to handle that. I really do think that that's good advice given to our maybe newlyweds or those that are engaged or those that are looking to get engaged. We got to be able to handle some things. And so you want to look at that person as well as yourself and you all together being able to handle those different situations, whether they're good or bad. That was excellent.
exactly, exactly.
That was excellent because here at Faith to Feet, again, the goal is to keep us moving. And even when we can't move, we want to at least be standing, right? Not to be
Right.
knocked down and never to get back up. We don't want anything to paralyze us. And even if it does paralyze you, I'm still holding on to hope that it's a temporary paralysis. And sometimes those unexpected things in our lives as mothers, as wives, they can give us some temporary paralysis, and this is one reason why I want to host this series of valuing your vows so we won't fall prey to any type of paralysis in our relationships. And we have enough advice, we have enough wise counsel to help us to keep moving in that relationship. So I guess when I was thinking about us doing this, valuing our vows, first of all, how long have you been married, Jerica?
I have been married 15 years. We just made 15 years a few months ago. So we've been in it a minute.
Y'all been in a minute.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Corey and I, we have been married almost 18 years. It'll be 18 in August. So we've been in it a minute too. So
Amazing. That's such a blessing.
thank you. Thank you. So I guess I would want my audience to know if they have anything, if they're thinking about getting married, if there's anything around them that they can use to actually get them ready or be a prerequisite, I guess, for marriage. Do you think that there was anything that made you or prepared, not made you ready? Because I don't think that there's anything that just specifically makes you ready because you've already told us about those unexpected,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Do you think that there was anything that prepared you or made you ready for a commitment per se?
The things that made me ready now, I feel like because we dated for so long, that was a big factor because we dated for a very long time. And the factor into that was because I was young. I was really young when I met my husband, which, as I sit here now, I'm fortunate for that. But that length of time, it gave us the opportunity to really get to know each other. And it also gave us the opportunity to experience each other unhindered,
Mm,
right? It gave us the ability to just enjoy life, enjoy being together. We're young, you know, and for those who are not spending a very long time together before they get married, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'll
Mm-hmm.
share a few things that I felt like gave me the indication that I was ready. One, I was with someone who was open and ready to commit to me. He
Oh.
made his intentions clear very early on, even though we were young when we were dating. And that's one big thing. He made his intentions clear. And I knew my intentions were clear. And we sat down and we had those conversations. And our aspirations, they lined up with each other. Because when you're thinking about getting married, you have to look at the person in the now, but you also have to take into consideration as the years continue, we get older, and with age, as we hope, comes wisdom and growth. Is this someone who is going to grow along with me and along beside me? And thinking about our aspirations and what we wanted to do and contribute in this lifetime while we're here walking this earth. Those were two things that really helped me know that I am ready for this commitment. And another one, I sat down and I talked to a really good friend of mine, and we knew we wanted to get married, and we made the commitment to each other to be a silliness filter. And I say silliness filter because when you're making a commitment to someone, sometimes you have to put how you would do things, not necessarily to the side, but you have to shift them because now you're coming from one to two people being a union, and you have to learn how to do things together. So we made a commitment that we would be each other's silliness filter. We would run by each other things that happen before we completely blow off the handle.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else to be our accountability to say, okay, you were wrong. That's silly. Don't do that. And that has really helped. And it helped within the first 5 years, especially because after our second and wedding anniversary, that's when we got into the other parts of those vows, which we'll get into in another series. And having that accountability partner, someone to be my silliness filter who was committed to telling me the truth and telling me, okay, Jerica, you're wrong. You need to do that different. That helped when we were building that foundation on our marriage.
Oh, wow. That was,
Yeah.
let me pause. Let me think about this. The silliness filter. Okay. So you said that y'all had an accountability person also with
Yes.
you all, in between you all, to buffer the silliness filter, because why was the accountability person needed?
Not between the two of us, but between my for myself. Because if we can be honest, face to feet family, and I think we can, we have ways and we feel like we're always right.
Mhm.
But there are sometimes it's important to run things by someone else, to
Mhm.
have a non biased point of view.
Ah.
And we knew we wanted our marriages to work because she was on the same path to get married. And we would run things by each other and have that honest conversation and be open and willing to accept, no, you're wrong. We need to shift this a little bit. So it was a accountability partner just for me because I didn't want to approach those situations as I'm right, he's wrong, he needs to fix him. I
Mhm.
wanted, if there was some flaws that Jerica needed to fix, I wanted to fix that too.
Okay, that's really good. That's really good. So, does your husband have that, or did he have that same thing in someone else, or just you?
Men are different. So
Mhm.
if it was called an accountability partner, I don't know. But I do know he has his set of friends, his set of guy friends that they've been together for a very long time since they were actually in middle school, and they talk to each other. And there are a few of them who are in successful marriages. If it was early on, I don't know, but I do remember finding out around year 10 that he talked to somebody because he shared it in the conversation. I was like, you talked to somebody? Like, I didn't know that. So men are set up completely different, but I do know he did have that group who wanted to see marriages survive.
Okay, that's really good. That's really good to hear. It's good to know. Also for Corey and I think it was important for me anyway. I have someone to or some people that I will actually run things by because I just want to know, as you said, I don't want to just be all willy nilly wrong and thinking I'm right about something. And really, the bottom line for me is not to be right and for him to be wrong, or vice
Hmm.
versa. Is really just for us to keep the mission going in our marriage, which is to be happy, healthy, joyful, and loving each other every day of our lives, right? Without any strife or anything like or contempt, anything like that. So I do think though that women are more apt to getting accountability partners because I just like you. I don't know if my husband really has an accountability partner, but I do sometimes say to him, did you run that by somebody? What you said, I feel like you need to run it by somebody. And sometimes if I've said it enough, I'm like, dude, let's go get you somebody because you done said two or three things in a row, and you need to run that by somebody.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
they
I
are different.
usually when you say yes, when you say women are set up differently than men, they definitely are in that way of receiving guidance and maybe
Hmm.
receiving correction. And I think that sometimes if we aren't careful as women, we will or we have the tendency to think that everything is um not our fault, but when you said intentions early, I think that we make men or fathers make men share their intentions for their daughters with them if they want them, but there's we don't really focus on the intentions anymore after marriage, and I feel like those same intentions that you had for me that you share with my father, we think we need to keep revisiting those and
Hmm.
assess them, as well as I need to have had some intentions for this marriage, for our family, for the relationship as a whole, in order to make sure we are progressing the way we need to progress. So I do think that that accountability person is definitely important, and it's important not just if I have any men watching, it's not just important for the women to have an accountability partner. We all need to have somebody that we're running information by, just in case you think that, yeah, I'm the head of the household and it's this, make sure you run it by somebody. You could, need just a little bit more wisdom concerning that topic. So, yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's true. You just said something big. Just because I'm the head of the household is this. That's one of the biggest, in my opinion, preconceived notions because in our household, this is how it runs. Yes, I am an advocate for the man being the head. However, it is also the head's responsibility to sit down and listen to the opinion of his wife, and you all come to a consensus together. If there's a time, and I can say this because there has been one, if there is a time where you two disagree, the head can take the lead. But as a woman, you also have to trust that you have someone who is going to take the lead and take that step that's going to lead you both into the desired end. And that's a big one.
Okay, so that sounds like the mission here. We don't want to compromise our values. So if a leader, a trusted leader, a leader that you know will have your best interest at heart, which is God's heart, because that's the first thing for me. I need my leader to be submitted to God first.
Hmm.
So if
Yes,
he doesn't ever tell me about an accountability partner, and I know that he has a relationship with God, I'm gonna be fine with it because if you every day communing with God, Holy Spirit, then that's the greatest accountability partner there is, and if you're submitted to Him, so I
exactly.
totally agree with that. So all our ladies listening, again, if you're engaged, dating, want to be married, hey, they need an accountability partner, and if you don't see it literally in an individual, you need to trust that you got a leader that is submitted to God. Okay, that's
Hmm.
one thing that I would tell you all. Because if you don't, there's nothing that's going to keep him committed to listening to you if he doesn't listen to God, right? So
Exactly.
that's what we all about over here at Faith to Feet, telling you the truth. Because just like Jerica said, one of her values is honesty. That's one of my values is honesty. But I want to do it in love. But I do want to give
Mm-hmm.
you information that helps you to become a better woman, a better wife, a better mother, whatever it is. Even if you're a single individual, of just a better woman of God. So yeah, we'll never be sugarcoating it over here at Faith to Feet. I'm so glad you brought that point out, Jerica. Another thing that I was thinking about when you were saying head of household, there are times also, women, and again, if we don't compromise our values, our vision, and our voice, if we think about that, sometimes we can when we don't speak up. And when Jerry
Mm-hmm.
said, there are times when, I've given my opinion and I'm trusting and hoping that he will listen to what I'm saying. Don't ever lose the ability to give your opinion in your relationship. If you're in a relationship, you're dating and you hadn't even made it to marriage and they don't value your opinion, I don't know, you may need to start thinking about that relationship. Is that a relationship that you want to create a covenant with? A covenant relationship with somebody that you like. This is a commitment that is forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
Forever, ever. It's
Right.
with someone that you are thinking about making a vow with and going into a commitment to. Good question. With this person, do they cover me in safety?
Mm.
If you have someone leading you, it's someone who is covering you, because you have to trust that when in those times where a decision has to be made, if someone is covering you, your voice will not be muffled. Your voice will be heard. And for me, it was important to physically hear. I hear you. However, here is the decision and here's the reason why. Funny
Mhm.
story. Okay. We were dating for a while and married for a while before we had a child. Now, when we had this child, I don't know about anyone else, but I only have one. And I kind of smother a little bit. I can be honest here. I do. And I'm working on it. So there was a decision that had to be made. And it was about which pre K we would put our child in. I wanted one, he wanted another. Now, this was not, I say this, he say that, and we're going with what he says. No, this was a conversation we had for weeks. And at the end of the conversation, it was physically said, I hear you. However, we're choosing this one, and here are the reasons why. And all in all, she's in elementary now. It was a great decision, but it's not like he just made this is what we're doing and we're going with that. That wasn't it. It was a dialogue between two married people,
Mhm.
and the decision was made by someone that I have gone into a covenant with and that I trust that as the head, he would make the right decision for us. Was it easy? It was not. It was not. However, it was the right thing to do. And I know who he counsels with. I know that he allows God to impart into him and that he will never make a decision that will hurt this family.
Mm.
And hard to say, but in the end, he was right. You see
Mhm.
how low I said that?
Right. I hear that. I hear that. I barely heard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good, Jerica. That's really good because honestly, again, we need to hear, day to day marriage conversations. And it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be helpful to all of those that may be watching right now. And when you just said that about him saying, I hear you, and this is the reason why, I'm just like you when it comes to that. I'm that kid that need an explanation. So I probably did not need to be parented by anyone that would not explain to me why. And
Mm-hmm.
I did a blog post about this when we're parenting our children. Don't tell them, they deserve an explanation. And when you raise your kids, especially your daughters, that you give them explanations for things, they're going to go into a relationship looking for people that want to hear them and give them an explanation. But when if you are parenting them, and so, hey, I'm talking to all parents myself. If you're parenting your kids right now and without any explanation for anything, listen, I'm not saying every detail or I'm going to pay this bill on the 5th so I can make sure you have the shoes on the 9th and I'm going to pay it this. I'm not talking about the details, but an explanation. Please understand that your kids deserve that. And it's not just for to make them be quiet, but it's for individuals that you're raising that will be in relationships in the future. They're going to be somebody's wife, somebody's husband, and they should expect that they deserve or that they owe an explanation to someone. And
Exactly.
I think that that was really, really big, Jerica, for you to share that with us because it's really important. And again, I don't want us compromising our values, our vision, and our voice. So just because someone is telling you I'm the leader or I make the most money, and mind you, I'm not saying head of household because sometimes there are individuals that make the bigger amount of money or the breadwinner is the woman. That's okay. I don't want her to think that she doesn't owe an explanation for the reason why she's transferring money to this account and investing in this stock or doing whatever the case it may be. But I want us all to make sure we're valuing each other and we're hearing each other. So,
Yeah.
so I want to ask you: have you ever received any great, or what's the best advice you think you've received as far as towards your marriage before you were married?
The best advice. And it's actually hilarious advice in the moment how it came. I have always been a grandchild's baby. Both sides of the family, my grandparents are absolutely amazing. And growing up, I only had one grandfather. The other one passed when I was young. And he was very quiet in his demeanor. However, he shared something with me before my wedding day that I still hold near and dear. He sat me down in his hilarious way that he does it. He sat me down and he said, "You're about to get married, right?" I'm confused. I'm like, "Granddad, yes, you know this." He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Never bring anyone else into your household." And I was confused because I grew up in a large family on both sides, and those families always helped each other. And I didn't understand, so I had to ask for clarity. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Never bring anyone else into your household." And he got specific: mother, father, brothers, because I only have brothers. Never bring anyone else into your household because you love them, but the dynamic in your home will change. You have things that you may be dealing with your spouse and how you move and flow on a daily basis. You don't need anyone else interrupting that. So his advice to me was never bring anyone else into your household. And as the years have gone, that piece, I had no idea what it meant at that time, but I have carried that and it has allowed me to maneuver certain situations with clarity and not guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're a giver, you always seems to feel me. I'll speak for me. Feel a little guilty when you don't do something to help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But that helped me as we maneuver through this life. Never bring anyone else into your household because you have your dynamic and you don't want that dynamic between you and your significant other to be affected.
Right. Grandpa wise, grandpa wise.
Girl, he was. He was.
I see where you get it from. I see where you get all the wisdom from because you said something even in that statement. You said it gave me clarity to not hold on to any guilt or to not
Mhm.
feel guilt. And I think that that is what advice, you hear me, ladies? That's what advice is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you clarity so you're not feeling guilty or hanging on to guilt. And when anybody is trying to advise you about who you should be with or who you shouldn't be with, if that advice didn't give you any clarity and you still have guilt or you feel guilty about something, girl, that wasn't no real advice. And that
You
wasn't no,
say that again.
because we over here at Faith to Feet are about valuing your vows. And so when Jerica said that, I just felt like, hey, the apple did not fall too far from the tree because that was wisdom that she just gave us from her grandpa, from not just her grandpa, but from her, she's sharing with us. So I definitely appreciate that because again, giving advice, people, everybody feel like they can give you advice. Everybody feel like they can give you advice, but if they're not giving you clarity, They're not giving you advice. They're just talking.
True.
They're just
True.
talking. So I want to share advice. I don't think that I necessarily had someone to, that was personal as far as like a parent or grandparent or even a friend. I feel like just observing. I'm a very quiet and observant person, but I feel like in that same vein about family, I think that that was the most uh that was the best advice I've ever received as far as watching and observing is that when you make sure that you're not inviting family into your disagreements and family, even sometimes family into your sometimes the joys that you and your spouse may experience, because sometimes when you experience joy at this level and they're like, oh, that wasn't all that, and you like, we've been praying for this for so long, or we've been,
Right.
what I mean? And it's like sometimes even just the joy, sharing the joy with family members. And I think that understanding and recognizing not just arguments or disagreements you may be having with your spouse, be careful on any information that is near and dear to you and your family, that you aren't, I mean, near and dear to you and your spouse, that you aren't just sharing it with, family just because it's family. And I feel like, well, I feel like my mama should know this, or I feel like my daddy should, or my uncle. And it's like, no, because, that's information that you and your husband, should just keep to yourselves.
Correct. You
All
are
right.
correct. Yeah, because it's not all you're working with another person, whoever you have made that vow with. That's the person you should be sharing that information with, because that's the only other person who will really understand and can help you get down to the root of that.
Mhm.
Now, if you have someone for accountability, that's someone who can help you mentally process it all.
Yes.
But to get down to whatever it is, whether it's a happy moment or a sad moment or something tough you're working through, you need to speak with the person you made the commitment with, because you're
Right.
the only two that understands.
Right, exactly. Okay, so this today we wanted to talk about in the vows that we take. So let me just read the vows right quick. I don't know, Jerica, did you and your husband write your own vows?
We did not. We
Okay.
repeated them after the pastor. Well,
Mm.
I omitted one part, but
What
we
did
were
you
supposed
omit, Jerica? What did you omit?
to obey because I didn't agree with it. It's like if he said obey, I said because we're not setting that up this way over here.
We'll leave the obeying up to I obey God.
Exactly.
Okay, so me and my husband, we did not write our own vows either. We said we repeated the traditional vows. So today's portion of the vows that we're going to be valuing and focusing on, because this is a series of valuing your vows. Again, that's a tongue twister for me, but we're working on the first portion of it. So again, both of you two are standing at the altar, and they will tell you you're standing in front of your family, friends, and in the presence of God. And then it says, to I take and you say your name, to be my wife or my husband, to have and to hold for this day forward. So that's the portion of the vows that we're working on today. So to you, Jericho, what does it mean to have and to hold from this day forward?
To have and to hold. I'm taking this person as mine. I'm making a commitment to them. And when I think of hold, it's something that's sacred. I'm accepting to be this person's safe place throughout the course of this commitment with each other. So that's what I think about when I hear to have and to hold.
Hmm.
And we say that lightly in the moment with all the excitement and the joy, but that first part is big.
It is.
I'm saying yes to having this person, and I'm saying yes to holding this person. And when you hold someone, you have to keep that person safe.
I like that. I like that. Oh, you hear this, faith to feet women, singles, mothers, wives. Because look, these vows, they weren't just for the day you took them. you need to go back and remind yourself. Like you heard, Jerica's been married 15 years. I've been married for 18. And so we have to remind ourselves of these vows. So for me, what I think about to have and to hold from this day forward, I feel like it's a prerequisite for the rest of the vows that in that
Mm.
you're gonna take. To cleave, to in sickness and in health. That when you said it's a sacredness in holding something. So I want not. So it's. I feel like to have. Okay, I want to have my desires. You, my husband, or you, and to your husband, you are his what he wants to have, and same with my husband. But like that's like the part, the lust part. But can you
Mhm.
hold that thing? Can you hold that thing when it doesn't look like what you want it to look like? Can you hold it? It's like the have is, yeah, I want to have this person, and I know that this person wants to have me, and we both agree to having each other. But can you
Mhm.
hold me? Can you hold me when if this is your situation, you will want a child when when y'all the first 5 years and you still waiting on that child. Can you hold me up and still wanting to mother and I've not gotten the opportunity to? Can you hold me up and I wanted the promotion that I didn't get? Can you hold me up when I'm getting all the blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings and you see me differently than you saw me when you first had me on that day when we were saying to have and to hold?
Mhm.
Oh man, you can see to have and to
Yeah.
hold this day forward.
It's a
That
lot.
it's a lot.
So, in a nutshell, can you hold me when that pretty picture in your head is no longer pretty?
Right. Can you hold me when when I done picked up a few pounds that wasn't there when you was having me, right?
Right? You can say that over and over again.
But in the name of Jesus, that shall not be our portion. That won't be our portion. But you still got to hold us.
Right.
All right, all right. I know we almost is all we almost 40 minutes in. So what I want to do, I want to wrap this one up, but I want to know if there's any advice that you would share, Jericho, or that you can share to any newlyweds, any women that are aspiring to be wives, or if like us, already been in this thing for a while. Is there any advice that you would give us?
Advice. Let's start with newlyweds. In that newlywed phase, I would say focus and remember on the commitment. And today we're talking about to have and to hold. If you are still in that newlywed, that honeymoon phase, great. If you are out there and you're not, go back to that to have and to hold and
Mhm.
write down why you made that agreement in the first place and use that to help you walk through wherever you are in this moment. Because remember, we said yes to those for a reason. For those that have been married for the long haul, wherever you are 10 years and beyond, congratulations. Anybody that says it's an easy road, 365, 7 days a week, it is not true.
Mhm.
However, for the long haul, you've made it. Continue to do what you've been doing. And remember, you chose this person for a reason, and I congratulate you for doing so. Those that are not married, who are seeking to be married, think about having and holding. Write down how you can how you can hold that individual that you're seeking to be married if you're engaged. Write that down. Make sure you have those clear expectations once you're going into it. And for those that may be looking, that may aspire to be a wife or even a husband, make sure you have your expectations in advance and also make sure you're ready. Am I ready to make that commitment to someone and to be someone's safe space? Because that's not always easy. And remember, if you desire to have it, you can. It may take some little work behind it, but you can do it and you can have fun doing it along the way. I will say I'm an advocate. Marriage is an amazing thing, but
Mhm.
it does take you having and holding through the course of everything because that first part it is a setup for the rest of those vows.
Yes, it's a commitment. All right, man. Okay, faith to feed women and men. If you out here watching, that was a lot. That I encourage you to go back and listen to this broadcast, and listen to all the gems that Jerica was dropping, because she really is out here doing marriage, and she's doing marriage in an uncompromising way. And that's how we do it over here at Faith to Feed. She's not compromising on values, vision, and voice. And because she's my friend, means I'm not either, because birds of a feather flock together, right?
Right.
All right.
Yes.
So we'll see y'all next time. And we'll go over some other portions of the vows. So I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. And thank you again, Jerica, for being our guest today. But before we go, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram as Simply Jerica. You can also find resources on my website at simplyjerica.me. And you can also find me on Patreon. The name of the podcast I host is My Life in Ruins. Or is it? Because every phase we go through in life has a purpose. And I would like to say another thank you so much for sharing your audience with me today and allowing me the opportunity to come on and speak to the Faith to Feet family.
You are welcome. Thank you. All right, Faith to Feet family. Peace out.
Bye.